All right, there we are. Welcome back, everybody. Back again. What an amazing day. Today, we're going to pick up where we left off on Friday and keep working on getting Maximus ready to launch. So last week, we made a lot of progress. We got all of the minting and redemption stuff done. We got the HSI management piece done. And now what we're going to be doing is start working on the bid execution stuff. So this stuff is a lot, most of what we already did, it's stuff we've already done before, just from Maximus contract and some of the other contracts. But with the bidding part, this is all new terrain. So we're going to be establishing just how the bid execution works, and handling things like, what do we do with leftover hedron? Should we allocate a portion of the hedron to just a hedron staking, just as like a hedge, just, to attract more users? Like if we're already going to be building like leftover hedron staking, why not also make that something that people can join, add some new dynamics to the value. So we're going to be talking through all that stuff, get it done, making it happen. In the meantime, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Thorsten says, "Hey mate, what's up, man?" Jaden says, "What's up?" I guess to get started, why don't we look at some charts, see what's going on in the world of Maximus. Let's look at the share screen. All right, so let's make this a little wider. So let's switch to Hex. Wow, so it looks like Maxi's been experiencing a sell-off today. I mean, really, since the end of the team mint phase, we've given back some of our gains. We're right back at the 2 to 1 level. Let's see how Desi's doing. First, we invert the pair and we switch to price and Hex. So Desi at about a 6% premium to the 1-to-1 minting rate. Let's see the Lucky Hex. Lucky's at 1.03. Let's check out Trio. Wow, Trio is outpacing Lucky and almost outpacing Desi. It's pretty amazing, I mean, it kind of just with such a smaller amount of supply. And Trio, it's a third of the length, so it's pretty interesting there that the Trios are performing Lucky. But this is all just day-to-day stuff. This stuff launched, very recently, so it's still gotta have a little bit of time to marinate and see what the Hex base chart at about 2%. So base is all the order in terms of premium goes, not including Maxi, goes Desi, Trio, Lucky, base. So that's pretty interesting right there. And then let's look at the team Maxi. Let's invert the pair. So about 22% below the 1-to-1 minting rate. kind of what we expect from the lack of urgency to buy team right now, just for for staking. And then, a lot of the people that participate in team are kind of that category of quick flip speculators. And then, it's like every week there's a shiny new thing popping in that's, competing and attracting speculators. So, perhaps that's what we saw. Some people, I haven't looked at exactly like what people that sold did after, but that's just kind of the ebbs and flows of everything. When you had so much demand during the minting, then most of the people that knew about team, they already got in. And so, and then just as that minting kind of cools off, it's kind of common in any new launch. Like you saw it in Hex, from that first day to day 45, it went down like 95%. Hedron launched, it had its kind of first move up, and then it took months off, and now it's retesting those highs. Kind of anything that comes out with a one-time launch. Gene asks, what are your recommendations on people that want to get into programming? Where would you start looking to get into building things for blockchain? So I made a document about this. Let's see where I can pull it up. One sec. So here's the link. I'll post it here. Jaden, just follow these and just like read this. Overall, start with Python. Here, let's pull up my tweet about it. I was tweeting about this. So here's what I had to say about that. I said, if you're an absolute beginner, start by learning the basics of Python. Simply do the free Code Academy course. Don't worry if you get confused, just keep pushing through, because it'll suddenly click and you'll feel like a wizard. So start there. And then spend some time watching the Socratica Python YouTube playlist. When I was first learning, I was just like swapping out just like normal YouTube videos. I was just binge watching Socratica YouTube. So you don't need to like do this while you're coding, and you don't really need to take notes. It's more just to like just hear people talk about Python and understand the words, understand the workflow. These are very simple, like little examples here, like where talking about booleans here.
Computers are funny creatures. They think in terms of ones and zeros, true and false. While Python has several numeric types, there is only one logical type, booleans. A boolean can only take two values, true or false. And this is only if you're logical.
See, I think these videos are really well done.
Booleans are a built-in data type.
It all makes sense.
There are only two values, true and false. Take care to note that true and false are both capitalized. Sign numbers to a variable. Exclamation mark is commonly
yeah, so it just like shows you, and then so spend time watching those. They're nice, quick hitting videos, and you can always reference them later. And then third thing is you just got to practice. The best way to practice is making web apps on Anvil.works. Anvil took me from beginner to pro. If you know the concepts from the free Python Code Academy course, you'll be shocked by what you can create, and your Python skills will 10x. So Anvil is what I use to build everything. All the everything I build is all on Anvil. It's just amazing. Like I could rattle on for days about it. It's just perfect. So definitely look into just practice on Anvil. You can make so much stuff, and just any dumb little idea. You don't even have to have a good idea. It's just like any dumb idea for a website or anything. Like a lot of times, like I'll build Anvil apps just to help me. Like if I want to, like here, for instance, I just wanted to pull information about the ICOSA HSIs. And so just like pull in data, and like this isn't even a website that's like, published like for other people to use, just like for research that I want to do. It's like I'll pull this in and make these applications in here in Anvil. So like this one, I have this like all the HSI data that I can then like sort by T-shares, by principal, the principal value like at the current hedron price, which is pretty cool. T-share days, that's like a definitive measure of the value of a stake is the T-share days, because it's the number of T-shares that it's getting over times days. So it's like a measure of like, because there can be really large stakes that have lots of T-shares, but they only apply over 30 days. Whereas something with less total principal but longer can have the same T-share days. And so it's just a way to look at the value. It shows the hedron bonus, the hedron that is going to be mintable by the stake at the end, when the auction starts, estimated end value measured in hex, and then estimated end value measured in hedron at the current price. So I've made these these different charts that show that so just Anvil's just awesome. You can just like make stuff. It doesn't even need to be good, just practice. Because the more you practice, the better you'll get. Monica says happy Monday. Thank you so much. How long have you been in programming? Since I was about 23 or 24. So that is now coming on 7 years. Also, one last thing, what is the best way to pull data off the blockchain using automation? Like, I want to make a bit to scan the blockchain, send data back to me. So I guess I'll show you how I did it right here. So with this app, I am pulling data from the ICOSA contract. And so what I'm doing is I go and you sign up for an account on Infura. So it can give you something called an RPC. That's like a URL that you use. And then I have this background task called get ICOSA stakes. And here where I pass in the ICOSA address and what's called the ICOSA ABI, you get this stuff all from Etherscan. I just look up the contract events. So ICOSA contract.events. So I just directly search the HSI buyback events in the, just straight from the blockchain. So I use a library called W3, so web3.py. It's a Python library for interacting with the network. So yeah, that's what I use, and I just pull it right here, and it just comes to me in a Python dictionary, and then you just kind of go to town with it. So to do this, what you just do is you just learn like Python, like learn how to use a Python mod. It's called a module, and then learn how to read and manipulate lists and dictionaries. And that's actually all you need to do to start producing meaningful data. So yeah, that's one way to do it, automated. There's other tools. Another tool that I've used in the past is alchemy.com. And what this is they have all kinds of stuff. So I use this monitor, or no, I can't remember. For the minting bot, for like the Twitter bot that tweeted when anyone minted a pool token or a team. I just found a tool here that it had you just paste an address and then you tell it what to look for. So I was looking for any time a hex transfer went to one of the contract addresses, because that means if someone minted. And so this just sends what's called a webhook ping to whatever, to like a URL. And so you read from this URL, or you can plug that URL into tools like Zapier. If you're just trying to send the data back to you, what you can do is you don't even need to know how to code. You can just use tools like Alchemy, and then Zapier. Zapier is this site here. So it has plugins like where you can, you get a notification from this site that Alchemy that some event took place, and then you have it send you a message and make it do something. And so that's what Zapier lets you do. There's all types of things. So you don't really need to know how to code to be able to start doing stuff, and just using tools like Alchemy plus Zapier, you can get a lot done, and you'd be surprised. So in many cases, you really don't even need to know how to code. You just need to know how to use tools like these. But at the same time, like sometimes using these tools is harder than just writing the code. So it's, because you have to kind of fit within their framework. But yeah, I mean, if you have that idea, literally that's a great idea for something just to practice. And then you just build some solution and then try to make it work to whatever you need, and then just Google your way through it. Great question. I guess while we're talking about it, let's look at some of the data we've pulled on the ICOSA HSIs. So what we have are in total. So I mainly focus on the ones that are greater than 1 million principal. There's 89 HSIs coming to auction that are 89 principal, and more than half of them are in that first week, and almost half of the total value is in that first week too. So most of the auctions will be taking place here, and so like when we look at the auction start list here, right, those are the last ones. Let's reverse that. Yeah, so we have starting on the 13th, the first one to come in is a 3 million, followed by a handful of 1 million. So let's see what the largest one in this. Okay, so here's a 6 one. So this is still on the first day. Here, let's do this. Rather than do a 1 million minimum, let's change this to be 5 million, just so we can hone in on like the largest of largest ones. There's only 5. Wow, look at that. So the principal on these ones is, so these, let's do auction start. Okay, so I mean, this is the first one. So within the first week, we have 2 ones that are greater than 5 million. As of right now, the hedron value of the principal is 52 billion for this one and 69 billion for this one. So let's look at the hedron supply. What are the best hedron data apps? Does anyone know? I'm gonna look at Etherscan. Etherscan. So the total supply of hedron is so that's millions, billions, wait, millions, yes, and these are billions, and this is trillions. So there's 48 million times about a little more than 2. So there's about 100 trillion total hedron. So 1 trillion puts you at 1% of the supply. But also, there's a lot that's locked up in FC that looks like ICOSA, right? ICOSA's FC. ICOSA right here. Yeah, so this is the ICOSA contract. It's got a shitload of hedron staked in it. So the hedron stakes, hedron stake end, so there's a lot of the hedrons actually locked up in here. I wonder if does anyone know off the top of their head the penalty? So let's just search penalty. Okay, so calcs the end stake penalty based on time served, min stake days. So payout is amount times scaling resolution divided by serve percentage. So serve days divided by minimum stake days. Okay, so it looks like it's just a sliding penalty. So if you were to early end your Hedron stakes, what's the schedule? Oh, it's on Icosa Pro. Okay, so minimum is 360 days. So if you're a whale who has a 1 billion of the Hedron supply, which, or 1%, so that would mean 1 trillion Hedron about. And if we have, new one, and then let's see what we can read from this. Read contract. So 6509. So we should probably want to look at these Hedron stakers at some point to see how much. Let's see the logs here and see what we can read from this. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1. So this person, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 730. I mean, this random one looks like they staked 730 million Hedron just recently. So we probably want to look at the ones that have staked, because if it's 90 days from the start of when you could, and if you're a squid, so if you have a medium bag, then your penalties may not be very much because you'll be at that 90-day, almost that 90-day mark. So we could get a lot of those people. Minimum stake length, these people are 180 days, so the penalty may actually be pretty severe on these dolphins and sharks. But also, on the other hand, actually, no, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so that's important to know. Okay, so why don't we hop right into the thing that we came here to do today, which is to let's get this all set up. switch the browser. Hex loves his data already. Wow, time flies. I'm feeling Hex C is watching. Maybe they're going to bid too. Could be. Do you know if Mex C was actually a minter, or is that just like whoever the exchange used by the largest minter? Hex loves says, I'm so glad I'm back here. I got distracted for the Zen Frenzy. Yeah, man, that's that bear market season, and you know, everyone wants to chase the next thing. Yeah, I mean, it's not everything's going to be great, but I mean, it could. Who knows? Who knows what happens? I think what kind of exacerbates all the hysteria is that, like, not only is like the token launching and like smart contract space really competitive. I'd say that like the YouTube and attention and influence space is also really competitive. And so it's like if you're a YouTube streamer, you kind of have to like appeal to everyone, and you have to be like differentiating. And so, people are that mainly get their information from like the YouTube community, like whatever they're I'm not going to say promoting, it's just whatever they are using as the subject of their content is what people get exposed to. And so like that's kind of it's a big driving factor, which is it's all part of it, right? It's all just for there's entertainment value, there's educational value, and you can't expect that people will only promote the stuff that you care about. So that's kind of my perspective on it. But yeah, I mean, I think people just want to make back. They want to make back the bull market gains, and they want it to happen yesterday. So they're willing to take more and more risk and get kind of, get too excited. Mexi minted with bot 60K per few minutes. Oh wow, so it was them directly. Yeah, I mean, if you're an exchange, you already have software that manages entire suites of addresses. So it makes sense that an exchange would do that. I heard a guy describe Poly as just like Maximus Idea. Yeah, I mean, so it's not like Maxi in the sense that it holds HSIs that are redeemable when they're all done. So where it's a one-time minting thing. So that's how it's similar to Maxi, but it's different in the sense that it's hedron in and then hex and hedron out. So that's the main difference. Look at these scanners, so it's huge, like 46. Yeah, I mean, I bet. But here, let's see what we're gonna focus on today, because I can't be on for too long today. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so this is our poly contract. Okay, so So here's what we are going to do. So we took care of the system where we process these HSIs when they come into the contract. And so one thing that we're going to add here is we're going to say that when we're processing these HSIs, if the end day is greater than the latest stake end day, meaning like it's updated to be the last one, that we move back the latest stake end day, because that's what governs the redemption. But for every stake, what we're going to say is that we're going to have a function that's called last bid day, just so that we can, like, if at some point it just drags on and there's no more bidding left, we can just use the leftover hedron for a hedron staking system. So let's do something like this, where we're going to say last stake end day, and then also unit 256 last bidding day, unit public. So what we do is we just say last bidding day equals X contract dot current day plus maybe something like where each new one extends the bidding like by like 14 days. So like as soon as like the last one that it ends up bidding on happens, then other stuff can take place. And we can change that. We're mainly just trying to get this stuff done here. But then also let's deal with handling leftover hedron. So we're going to say function stake leftover hedron, and we're going to set where this is going to be external non-reentrant. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say the hedron contract dot, we pull it in. Let's see what we pull in. Dot, or it's actually the ICOSA contract is what we got to pull in. So let's see that now. ICOSA. Let's see if we can find interface for ICOSA. Okay, maybe it doesn't have an ICOSA interface. Okay, so it doesn't have that. So let's just see what functions we want. Convert ABI into Solidity interface. See if this works. We're going to take the ICOSA ABI. Copy an ABI to Sol. Interface name, we're going to call it ICOSA interface. Okay. And just copy the clipboard. Let's see if this works. Okay, so we got that. So now why don't we say that ICOSA interface of ICOSA contract equals ICOSA interface of the ICOSA Let's look up what the ICOSA testnet address is. ICOSA. We might just have to do this actually on ETH if there's not an ICOSA. Okay, so they told me that it's the same as everyone else, so let's just do this. Copy that. Okay, so I'm asking the chat now. They said that it is a different contract address, so let me do this. Let's actually see what this does. So hedron, stake, start. Require the. Okay, so okay, we probably want to structure this a little differently, where we probably just need like a, so like some type of like finalize. Yeah, let's do like a function. Finalize. Okay, so So what if we don't? What if we want more than just the hedron that's in there to be staked? Interesting art you have, Mister. Yeah, thank you. What's up? Yo, what's up, dude? Yes, what the total value is going to be. I don't know. It's truly impossible to say. All right, here, let's do this. I think here's how we're gonna do this. We're gonna add a value that's called UN256 bidding budget. And then we're going to say UN256 public hedge staking budget. Okay. And so when people mint, let's do this. Actually, no, we'll do that. We'll take care of it in finalizing. We don't need to ever use it or do that. We just need to do it once. So let's have this. We'll do a function just like we did in team, where we have this function called finalize minting. So first thing, we need to require that hex contract dot current day is less than or equal to the or greater than minting phase end. Okay. And then we're going to say bidding budget equals, and then here, let's just do like 256 public. We're going to call it bidding budget percent equals, and this is something that we'll just have to set. So say what effectively what this is it's a way to get us to like not have to wait for every last hedgeron to be bid. It's just like, and we can set this really where we want. So like on the very low end, it's just to like, make it so there's not just like hedgeron dust that's there, just to like kind of just finalize the bidding. Because like if there's only like a tiny little bit amount left, then it's just like what are you gonna do with that little incremental extra amount? And so we might just want to, we said that we're just going to hedgeron stake the remaining hedgeron, but we've been thinking about it. There's actually a good case for actually not only doing bidding and just like, because we're pooling hedgeron and we're already planning on the staking the leftover hedgeron right here. Since we're already going to be doing that, we might as well actually, think about, do we actually need to use all the hedgeron for bidding? Like, is there a good case for just staking some hedgeron? So just to make this more flexible, because at this point we don't know exactly, like these are the like final decisions we'll have to make about like just strategy. But if we do something like where a bidding budget is set, so say like bidding budget percent, let's say that we're going to bid 80%, and then the remainder we're just going to do. So what we do is we'd get UN256 total hedgeron equals hedgeron contract dot balance of address this, and then we're going to say that bidding budget equals total hedgeron times bidding budget percent divided by 100. And then we're going to say that hedgeron staking budget equals total hedgeron minus bidding budget. IRC20. So if we're going to bid that in the bidding budget, and then, so let's call this total bidding budget. And then we're going to also make one that says unit 256, public, remaining bidding budget. I guess if we're going to finalize this, then we might as well do a single hedron stake start. So let's, and then we're going to say, actually, yeah, unit 256, bidding start a and we're going to, so at the bid, we're going to require that bidding start day is less than or equal to X contract at current day. And we're also going to require that bidding, I guess the contract will just let us, I mean, if we finalize, I guess here's where we're going to kick off the bidding. So rather than saying bidding start day, we're just going to say bool, and it's going to call is bidding active, and we're going to say that is bidding active equals true. And then here, rather than that, we're just going to say require is bidding active. Yeah, total bidding budget. So we don't need to do this stake leftover if we're just gonna I guess no, what we can do is this stake leftover is just gonna be Hedron stake add capital. Yeah. And then yeah. Why don't we tweet this out here? I'm gonna tweet. Excellent says, I talked to guys, so don't be surprised if prosecution stinks for the auctions. I'm like, why? Because we all could dump pre-auction. Is that feasible? Yeah, I mean, people can sell whenever they want, right? So, and if like a lot of the buying has already happened in preparation for the auctions, then who's left to buy? You know, the burning takes place, but it's like the buy pressure's already been absorbed. And also it could be like a sell the news type event. Like buy the rumor, sell the news. You know, so truly anything could happen. Let's go to the Icosa Pro. Here, I'm about to tweet this. Exploring ways to make hedge and staking via post country. It's been. I just tweeted out. Exploring ways to make hedge and staking via coast contract a significant portion of the Maximus value proposition. Until now, it has been a fallback option for leftover Hedron, but if we just choose within each side option, staking Max can dominate both. What do you guys think? Chat69 XYZ best adult dating site seems to think that this is a good idea. Let's block that user. I talked to a guy who said, "Don't be surprised if they have." Oh yeah, we already went over that. Let's see what's. Rothka says, shout out all the legends on the right path. Hey man, you're on the right path too if you're here. Okay, so that's really as easy as it can be. So we can toggle this number. What should the bidding budget percent be? And then that'll be that. So we're going to finalize minting. In order to require executor equals that sender. Let's see what people say. That'd be cool if we had something where people, as they minted, they like voted on what the breakdown should be. Some type of pricing mechanism there. Like we could do something like, how do we do it? Some type of like always updating value, something like but also we don't want people to be wasting gas doing that. Like if the end value across everyone voting is just going to be some number like 50-50, then you might as well just set it. I like the plan to stick the hedgerows leftovers, probably earn lots of yield. Do you mean like from the hedgerow stake or just the HSIs? Let them decide beforehand. Please, I think N6 on native hex is one of the greatest challenges you face as a community. I deeply appreciate the mental energy you're putting onto it. Stephanie, if there's the work too. Yeah, so the what he's talking about here is how we have a really good solution for like pooling the cost of ending stake, both with our stake pools and then what we're applying here with the HSI pooling. But there's really nothing you can do about native stakes. That's the hard part. So I have been trying to think of ways to just somehow do something for these people. It's definitely a tough thing because like you know the one thing that could happen is if like people could run good accounting, but there's like no reason to run good accounting. Imagine if all of the money that people spent on gas to mint Zen was used to run good accounting. We could have cleared all these up. So yeah, I don't know. There's like a half-baked idea that I have about something where if you have stakes on an address that are just toast, what you do is you actually give up your seed phrase to another contract or like a service, and then that contract or that system ends the stake, because you can only end a stake on your own. Like you can't do it on behalf of another address. You have to like be in control of keys to actually run it. So something that would like end stake the hex and then break off part of it to compensate whoever ended it. So something like that, where you basically have to like abandon your address and then do that. So trying to think of something, guys. It's a tough problem though. He says the leftover hedgerow gets staked is what your tweet said. Well, here, let's look it up. yeah, so until now, it has been a fallback option for leftover hedron, but if we made a strategic split between HSI options, he's just taking Polymaximus dominant both. Yeah, so I guess what I mean by that is that, like, rather than just the leftover hedron being staked, which could probably be tiny, if all the hedron is used to bid on HSIs, it could be tiny. But if we have the hedron staking mechanism, then and we make it so that some larger portion of the hedron pooled is just staked in hedron, that can provide a lot of benefits. So here, let's list out the benefits here. Benefits of staking hedron in addition to using it for bidding, on HSIs. So benefits are capture poly holders can capture some of the upside of hedron as a result of supply of inflationary supply pressures caused by auctions. Decrease opportunity cost of scenario where hedron goes on unreal of scenario where hedron pumps high heavens. How can we frame that? So you can capture more of the upside of hedron in years. In years, since it will be much more scarce than scarce. What are some other benefits? Oh, so if you've been following me on Twitter, what was the video that prompted my question? Because basically, I've been researching sharding a lot because everyone's like, "Oh, sharding's going to happen," but it turns out that sharding may actually not help us at all, because of the way that the system moves to a system of shards. So let's watch this video here. I guess it's definitely like you should, if you care about this stuff, you should definitely watch this video. Search Endgame VTOG Beaterin. But pretty much what sharding is it's a scaling solution for Ethereum where they, rather than having one main chain where everything happens, all the network activity is spread out across 64 subchains that every 100 blocks, they all sync up to the main chain. And part of the rollout of this is to include something called rollups, where network activity happens through rollups on these shards, and then the final data is then deposited onto the Ethereum mainnet. So they want to move stuff off of the main chain and make the main chain being where all of the shards and all these rollups do something called notarize their data. So it's like every 100 blocks. So if the blocks happen every 12 seconds now, so 12 times 100, every 1200, so every 1200, okay, so 12, so how many blocks per minute? So there's 6 blocks per minute. And then every 100, so 100 over 6, or 100 over 5. So every 20 minutes about all of the shards need to log information to the mainnet, is kind of how like their scaling solution is intended to work. And so they want to move all the consumer use cases off the main chain onto these shards. But the problem is that for hex staking, hex is natively on the main chain. And when Webby talks is here, I don't know if you can hear this, but here.
So more and more data and rollups get cheaper and cheaper. And from a user's point of view, like users, once again, they don't really have to notice anything. The only thing users have to do is they just have to move their activity from layer 1 to layer 2 at the point when they're comfortable with it, right? And then once they've moved everything to layer 2, then all that they see is that layer 2 just keeps on getting cheaper, and then it gets cheaper again, and then it gets cheaper again. So that's the surge.
So he's talking about the transition to sharding, and what he said there, which really caught me off guard, not off guard, but just like what really stood out to me, was how he said that that users don't have to do anything, except the only thing users have to do is move their activity to the layer 2. So that implies that, that it's either for new activities, so new contracts that deploy, just need to deploy natively there. When he says users, he doesn't mean the end user. He means the contracts is really what he means. So contracts that can upgrade and move to these layers, they will, but contracts that are immutable, they can't. So, so there are going to be plenty of contracts that can't move to sharding because there's, just not a way for them to move. So it's, again, this is all like, if you read the stuff from 3 years ago related to sharding, it's different than the stuff 2 years ago. It's different than the stuff 1 year ago. Now that the merge happened, there seems to be some consistency in the strategy around how sharding is going to work. But in general, you can't really, it's hard to say until stuff is actually out there on testnet, because this stuff is actively being invented as we speak. So I was hoping to get the answer that sharding would just work and it would solve all of our problems. But now the more I actually research the topic, the more I'm thinking that it actually may make our problem specifically worse, where, a lot of activity may move off chain or off to the layer 2s, like, these layer 2s, meaning roll ups that live on these shards. But if, like Vitalk said in this video, if that users need to move, how are they going to incentivize users to move? Maybe by making it prohibitively expensive to be on that. And they've talked about this before, where like kind of this end game is where like users aren't using, they call it the roll-up centric future. So roll-up centric roadmap. So this is what Vitalk said. So short-term advancing ETH1 for roll-ups. So literally part of this preparation for preparing is, in the short term, one major outcome of this is that Ethereum base layer scaling would primarily be focused on scaling how much data blocks can hold and not efficiency of on-chain computation or IO operations. The only determinant of the scalability of a rollup is how much data the chain can hold, and any increase beyond the current 60 kilobyte per second will help increase rollup scalability further. There are some things that would continue to matter at the base layer. EIP 2929, which is what caused the hex stakes to go up in cost for the gas by 2.6x. That's to ensure that the chain is safe against denial of service attacks at current gas levels. And then EIP 1559, both for the ETH burn and the benefit of making it easy to send transactions, while I'm certainly getting to the next block, which rollups still depend on for confirmations. And then other stuff there. So it's like, like already that like mitigating the cost of using storage on the chain is already part of their like rollout. And so and you know, so that was like the short-term stuff that impact us directly. And then here's where it talks more about the long-term you know, effect. And a lot of stuff it probably doesn't make any sense to you at all. But so here's where it says, so this implies a phase 1.5 approach T2 where the base layer retrenches and focuses on doing a few things well, namely consensus and data availability. And so that means that their priorities are to make it so that the main chain or this base layer is more suited to support sharding. So, you know, I you know, the more I learned about it, at first I was afraid that just like sharding would decrease the cost and cause the whole world to be onboarded, and that, you know, we'd still, you know, on our shard that we're on, that, you know, we then just have to fight the gas wars there. But literally, the more that I learn about sharding, I'm actually concerned that it might make things worse for us. So who knows what's going to happen, but it could be pretty wild. Luckily we have a solution. Like, people in the stake pools aren't going to feel much of an impact, and they really kind of benefit from this. Oh, even he's talking about this. Actually, let's search. I wonder if they used my recommendation. All right, let's get back to this. Okay, so now we're going to say last bidding day. Sorry, guys. The spammer. Hedge and stick end. So we don't even need that function. We just call directly here. And so hedge and stick end. And we need to set redemption rate. So set the redemption rate. Now let's, in our set redemption rate function, let's add a new one. We're going to say ACOSA redemption rate. Public. Okay, so redemption rate. Okay. All right, Max, what's up, dude? State sub-bidding would be based on maths trustless in the code, or there would be a human executor for bidding in the auctions. So still being decided. The better solution is to have a single executor. But, you know, there may also be ways to just make it part of the, like, more crowdsourced. Still deciding though. Yeah, and I was talking to Cryptographics about this. So it's kind of like if there is an executor, the downside is very limited because the executor would not have any control over the funds. They can't take them. They're never in their possession. The only thing they can run is this function bid. And notice the executor is address, so it could be a user, like just a regular address, or it could be a contract. Like it could be its own thing that, you know, like it could literally be something like this, like contract, executor, contract, and then we have like function, function, put forth bid. And then you could have like a function that is, so here, then this one would say, and then you got a function, vote on bid. You could have something like, execute bid. So something where like, anyone can put forth bids, and then like some class of users can have it's based on the bidding that people put forth that like qualify something to be put forth as a bid, and then you can execute the bid if the right purposes are met. He said, true, I think the only concern that came up was like poly value prop is in the hands or heavily based on the elector capabilities of person group. I mean, not really. The main performance indicators are going to be just the hex price. That's the main thing. The executor is really more of like a volunteer, because the executor doesn't really benefit from they have no special benefits, other than maybe like personal brand improvement if they perform well. But it's mainly driven by the hex price. And then now that we're talking about increasing the scope of just hedron staking, that even further reduces the impact of, like, in terms of the total performance of poly. So I don't know, it's tough, because then it's like, you're gonna have like a whole spectrum of people. So like, you have like the people over here, these are like the dumbest of the dumb, big hump in the middle, these are just everybody. And then like the people over here on this side of the spectrum that are like the high performing people. And say you do like equal voting across everybody, that is like the equivalent of just picking one of the like random average people. Whereas just having one executor, where it's like you shouldn't expect anything from their performance, like they could fail. Absolutely, they could fail. The picking a top performing person may just produce better results if logistically someone has to do it. And so I don't know, that's what we'll be hopefully ironing out this week, is like really honing in on, okay, do we just have an executor do it? Because also, it would kind of suck to be the executor. What if these auctions go on for months or years? Like, what's that person going to do right over the holiday season? Like, that sucks. So that's like the main reason why I wouldn't want to have the executor, is just like the logistics of it. I guess follow-up would be, would the poly price be effective if the executor made bad decisions for bidding versus good decisions? Best worst case scenario. But yeah, so there are two things that can basically happen. They either don't bid aggressively enough and they don't win any auctions, or they bid too much and then they end up with less T-shares per hedron bid than they could have otherwise got, maybe by selecting other ones, or just by not getting in such aggressive bidding wars. So those are the two things that could go wrong. But it's not like that's introducing any additional risk to yourself, because if you were bidding by yourself, you could be in that exact same situation where you didn't bid enough and you don't end up with anything, or you bid too much and you overpaid. So it's not like it introduces any new risk, because that's like the risk that you would already be subject to if you were bidding on your own. And so, and then either way that happens, probably the worst thing would be that it overpays, because then the market just prices in, will just be pricing it in. So perhaps the poly price goes down because, maybe in the short term, because, maybe the market was, when they're minting their poly, they're deciding how much, and when the poly starts trading, they're deciding how much hex it's going to be worth. So, it all just gets factored into the price. But then on the other hand, say that they don't win any bids, then all the Hedron just gets staked. Then it just turns into like a stake pool, a Hedron staking pool backed by all the Hedron. So poly is just now, maybe perhaps just kind of trends with the growth of the yield, and it's in that bigger pace better category. So that's another scenario there. Is it just like now it's just a Hedron staking pool? So it's kind of no. I mean, there's not necessarily much downside. But yeah, I see what you mean about like good decisions. He says, will we know who the exec are to be, or that need to be kept a secret? I mean, ideally, it's more so that the strategy remains a secret, and yeah, but that's all. There may be benefits of knowing who it is, but not knowing what they're going to do. I don't know. This is the stuff that we're going to have to sort out this week. So, good questions. Thanks for hopping in here. Okay, so what's the last thing we want to do? So we got okay, so it looks like we got our okay, so it's really all we need to here, let's do this. Let's put this over here. So mint poly, and then redeem poly. And then here, we need to add 256 redeemable Icosa equals balance of sender times. So here, let's get 256 current balance equals. I guess this loan liquid exit, this is a public, so let's read this one. Okay, so it looks like we can do that. So when we process these, so here, let's try out how this works. I'm gonna have to hop off here in just a minute, but okay, so let's do minting rules. Mint poly per 1 hedron deposited to the contract. After before mint phase and after mint phase and pay, someone needs to run finalize minting function. Creates bidding phase, stakes, hedron, allocates bidding budget. HSI management. Size, enter the contract after successful auctions. Someone needs to run process HSI, which records information about the stake and schedules the heading. Okay. All right, you guys. I think I'm gonna hop off now. Made a lot of progress today. Let's tweet about it and we'll hop off. Daniel says, hey man, stacking that hedge for Poly Maximus. Excited for auctions. Yeah, man. You're in the right place. So with that, I'm going to get off. Thank you all for joining me today. We'll talk to you soon.